Hello, everyone. Wow, it has been a long time, a lot longer than I had intended. Um, well, let's get in that later as to why it has been so long. But here's some footage I have had for a while now, but I wanted to put together of a painting that I had created when I first moved here. One of the first paintings I've done in, well, at the time, my new apartment. So this is actually a painting of a picture I took when I was at a tea ceremony in Japan. I think it was the second time I was there. Yeah, 2018, I believe. I don't really remember. Yeah, I think it was 2018. So as you can see here, I have already sketched out my painting and added masking fluid to the phone and the box with the folded fabric on it and maybe some other areas. I wanted to save those as the highlights and also for detail later on in the painting. I applied it with this, it's called a color shaper. It's a little paintbrush with a rubber tip, so no bristles, but it's a little rubber triangle tip. And I think it would have been easier if I applied it with a pen, but I did not have that at the time, and I did not know that that was an option at the time. So it took a lot of work to hand detail all of those little shapes in the fabric there. Yeah, and if I messed up, I'd have to wait for it to dry, peel it up, do it again. Also, I do not know why I started this painting with painting the wood. Yeah, you'll see throughout this process that looking back, I would do a lot of things differently. Maybe not better, but differently. And I think it's kind of cool to see how I did it at the time. Kind of remembering my thought process along the way, and other times being like, what was I doing? So what I like about the tea ceremony is that each movement is meaningful, even though it can be very simple and small. It speaks very loudly, and I think even just the storage room of the tea ceremony was simple and quiet, but still spoke loudly. So here I'm obviously working wet into wet. So I think I did that a lot for this painting. And I don't always recommend the size brush I used for this. I think I used two brushes for this whole painting, and they were both the round tip. Don't know if that was the best idea, but that's what I had, and it worked. Looking back, I think I would have been a lot more bold with my application of color. I think in the end I had to layer quite a few times, and I think I was just so scared because I didn't want to mess it up. I wanted this to be a really great detailed painting, and I hadn't really done anything to this extent before, and I just decided I'm gonna do it and it's gonna be good. So I really pushed myself. One thing to know is that I'm working in a very, very humid environment. This was summertime, probably 40 degrees Celsius, probably 80% humidity or more. I did not have an air conditioner, so I was working with a fan and an open window. So there might be some noise, there might be some breeze. Also, I didn't have any internet, so basically this is all I had to do, and I'm pretty sure I was sweating this whole time I was making this. Oh my gosh, here I don't know what I was doing. I should have used a bigger brush. Well, maybe this one's okay. But I so delicately put in the color, blobbing it for the shadows, and I ended up going over it later and doing more darker shadows and the reflection of the box. And I feel like this took way more time than I needed to. And yeah, as you see, I used a paper towel to dab away to create room for the highlight. Yeah, I don't really know why I did it this way. I would have done this so differently. But it's a learning process, and each way is not wrong. But now that I've done it once, yeah, I would have done that way differently. So this was a scene that I had taken a picture of really quickly. They let us tour the kitchen and the back room area after the tea ceremony. Just the boxes, the containers, thought they were beautiful. All the tea trinkets all lined up and washed and clean. It was very, something that people would look over very quickly. In that moment, I just felt this beautiful sense of time. There's this phone, this modern phone on the right, like time is passing, but then this tradition is so old, and these boxes and the folded fabric and the ceremony itself. So I thought this was a cool collision between modern times and time passing and the sense of time standing still. Let me know if you see the same thing, because I don't know, maybe this is super boring to you. All right, here you might see some of the wind blowing my little camera setup. Sorry about that. I realized that half of the footage I have, I was actually holding the camera as I was painting. How did I do that, and why did I do that? I don't know. Um, but here we are. Sorry for the noise of the wind and all of that. But you can see I am filling in this front box with the first layer of wash. Mistake, I would have used a bigger brush next time. That was way too small. And at first I was really worried about those darker splotches because I kept reworking it. You can kind of see, yeah. But I also wanted wood texture. And in the end, in the final piece, I think it worked really well. I probably would have added a lot more texture to it. But as a first wash, I think I was still working in a way where I was so worried of making a mistake. And look, right there, I think I hated myself. I overworked it. So as I'm filling in some of these boxes in the background, I just wanted to say the reason I have not uploaded any videos this past year was because I was pregnant and got a job, and 2020 happened. So all that was happening at the same time, and now I have a newborn and I have no time to paint. I'm trying, but life is a little different. And I want to paint every day. So as I adjusted this new lifestyle, please be patient with me. I have a lot of things on the way that I'm really excited about, and I have a big painting I am shipping overseas, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So I have a lot going on, and I've been teaching art lessons and stuff throughout this year as well. But no one can see all that because I have no footage of it. So yes, life happened. A lot has been happening. But in a world of social media and having videos, I have nothing to show. Okay, here, I'm sorry, this was the only footage I have of me painting the phone. I think I really dreaded this part because it didn't look fun to me. The box was the fun part. This part was not fun. Maybe it's fun now. I probably would have enjoyed it more now, but I think I was so worried of messing it up. I had actually painted this painting one other time, twice the size, and messed up this part. And so I was pretty upset with how that worked out. But at least I had a little bit of knowledge of how I wanted to go about it the second time. Alright, the part I've been waiting for this whole time, basically the reason why I made this painting, was for this box right here. And as you can see, it was just so satisfying as I was painting it. Just seeing all the color pooling in between the masking fluid. One thing I noticed though was if I tried to brush it in too fast, my bristles would get caught on the masking fluid and flick paint. So I think there's a couple little splotches that I fixed in this painting that were from the paint, how do I say it, like flicking off of the masking fluid. So yeah, just be careful, work slowly. I'd probably use a bigger brush again. But yeah, this was so satisfying. I'm really glad I recorded this. I'm actually proud of myself because I had thought in advance to use a brighter red than how I wanted it to turn out in the end, knowing that it dries a different color than what you expect, but also that I was going to layer a different color on top. Because right now the paper is white underneath, and I do not want that masking fluid, once I take it off, to just be left white. That wouldn't work in the scene because you need the shadows and, you know, the environment. So I had decided to use a brighter red and then go over it with a more muted purple color to push it back into the scene. I'm so sorry I don't have more footage of the rest of this painting. Again, I was recording this just for fun at the time. I didn't really think I'd be using it to post anywhere, or maybe just to my Instagram or something like that. So yeah, I regret that. And it's kind of a fun learning experience for me because I can look back and see what I've done wrong. And, you know, fix it. So as you can see here, I started off by removing the masking fluid with my finger. I quickly realized that that wasn't a good idea because of the high humidity and the oils from your fingers. It could easily smudge the pigments of the paint. I don't think I had that problem, but I realized on my finger that there was a little bit of pigment on it. And it took a lot of work to try and get this off. So I quickly switched to a little eraser pen I have here, and that worked a lot better. Still, you have to be a little careful because you don't want to be erasing the pigment or smudging it, but also this part was really satisfying to do. Highly recommend. Alright, here is the box with the masking fluid all off, but before I add the glazing on top and the details. Okay, so here is the box where we left off. As you can tell, it's a lot less bright and added more detail. Kind of, you can see like the folds in the fabric and stuff and the shadows. Alright, onto the phone, where I am sorry I don't have any other footage of me painting this. I think at the time I really didn't have any joy in painting this part. But again, in the end, I think it turned out alright. So I had done some masking fluid on some of the details, and I think I added in some gouache little highlights. And then, yeah, details here, some shadows here. Let's see, details in the box, other details. Yeah, like back here. I think I like this part here, adding the little stamp. See, the wood grain turned out well in the end. I think at the time I was so worried, like, this sucks, I hate this. But isn't that every artist's problem? So yeah, let me know if that's an interesting kind of topic. Art and tea ceremonies and phones. But yeah, here we go.